So basically, I'm going to talk about data engineer mindset. What mindset that you should have as a data engineer? Most things that we will be covering are thought process. What is your thought process? What are the skills that these thought process will tend to, and ultimately, what will be the goals that a data engineer mindset can lead to? Okay. So first thing is, why should we build the thought process? That's the very important thing. So first thing is, building a thought process helps you with taking the right decision. If you have the right thought process, then only you can go to the different life cycles of the data scientist or data analyst or data engineer and build the right product end application for the company. Okay. Next thing is, it helps in planning and performing each step effectively in data engineer life cycle. In a data engineer life cycle, there are many parts. It is distributed into different parts of. Okay. So if you are having the right thought process, then only you can plan and perform each step effectively. Else you will just means jumping from here to there and you will reaching nowhere. So that will happen. Next thing is, acquiring the right mindset helps you become better at your work. What happens is, when you keep doing the same things again and again, you know where to skip and where you can just write a small piece of code and it will do the work. So that will help. That will come with building the right thought process. Now, next thing comes is, are you already on the path of becoming a data engineer? The thought process that a person should have, that the key skill or those specific skills that you should have as a data engineer. First thing, are you a person who loves to tinker with the data? Do you like to play with the data and find the insights through them and find the trends and patterns, which leads us to the second point. A person who loves to find out patterns and trends in data. Are you someone who likes to make decision based on those things? The like what the someone said as machine learning, which helps in predicting the next data point using the past experiences. So, are you a person who loves to find out the patterns using those? If yes, then you are already on a path. And if the person who loves to learn the latest tech and wants to use it for your own work, that means whatever comes in the tech industry, are you one who loves to learn it and apply it for your own work? Are you someone like that? If yes, then yes, you are on the right track. If you pose all the above thought process, then congratulations. You have what it takes to become a data engineer. It is very important. Next thing is, what are the key skills of becoming the data engineer? Ultimately, this is the basic key skill or the basic things that you should know. It is already been covered, but let me just emphasize on certain facts. How your these thought process can lead to these key skills. Okay, first thing is decision making. As you love to tinker with your data, you can get good at decision making, which is a very important factor. It helps in every aspect of the life. Next thing is SQL, that is NoSQL, database management system. These things are pretty essential because if you don't know SQL, then most of the thing that you can't do anything, because as a data engineer you have to find different databases and merge everything into a single format and create a very tidy looking data, which can ultimately lead to the giving the insight. And in SQL database it is done like that. Okay. Next thing is programming. Python can be a good start for anyone because it is very simple and intuitive to use its syntax, though it is very slow compared to Java and C. But Python can be a good start if you are very new to programming. Next thing is fundamentals of cloud computing. Most of the time, the data that we will be encountering, it will be living on somewhere in the AWS bucket or NoSQL database is this, or Google GCP. So you should know the fundamentals of cloud computing, like how to pull the data, how to fetch the data using an API, how to call some SQL request or no SQL request on those databases. Okay. Next thing is data warehousing or extract transform load or extend load transform tools. These are again basically you can make these through the Python or any other programming language, but there are tools already available for these things where you can get some data from a large storage, which is called a data warehouse, and you can just extract the insights from it. You can transform the data to means load to the model and then load it again, or you can either extract the data, load it, and then you can transform, and this will all be done on the fly. That means it will all be done as a part of a data processing pipeline. Okay. Next, handling of big data. Now as the data has increased over a vast amount, so what happens is that you should know the concept of big data. It is very key essential thing, but again this comes under the intermediate data umbrella. It is not under the basic data engineer. Now, this handling of big data is pretty essential for any company because they need it to process everything. And for big data, you have various type of where structured, unstructured data are also there. So that's why you need the learning of how to handle big data in a long run. Okay, and also there are more tools like these things. Means what happens is now there are many tools coming where you can just drag and drop things and you can create a system like airflow or snowflake. These are called no code tools. So this is the era of no code tools, so you should know how to use these also. Okay, next, so let's dive deep in the most interesting part of the session. What is a data engineer goal at? More specifically, we will be covering roles and responsibilities of a data engineer. So next thing is role of a data engineer. What are the primary roles of a data engineer? The primary roles of a data engineer is to work with the company's most important resource, and it is also they are the front facing part or the front end of the company. They work with the data and find the they make the data in such a way that it is accessible to the every different sections or components of the company. Or for example, there are many groups, like we are having groups, right? So there are many groups and each group requires the data, so it is their job to uh, make the transition very smooth for from loading the data to extracting the insights and creating the dashboards also. This is the next thing. Their primary responsibility is to ensure that the different teams in a company are smoothly able to analyze the data and use it for various purposes. Next thing is they only take steps to source data using ETL pipelines. This is the important key takeaway, that they only take steps to source the data using ETL, that extract, transform, and load pipelines, but also make it more readable for the whole organization. They, in simple words, they get the raw data and they make it a tidy data or readable data in such a way that it can be used or transfer those data to any machine learning algorithms or deep learning algorithms. Okay. Next thing, what industry demands out of a data engineer? What are the key responsibilities of it? Their key responsibility to prepare, handle, and supervise efficient data pipeline architectures. That means we just don't write code. What we do instead is we create the pipeline. Like once data is entered, it will never be out of the reach to us, and then we can say it is inside a pipeline. What happens in a pipeline is similar to what happens in a data pipeline architectures. There are many type of data pipeline architectures, but here one can refer data pipeline architecture, extract, transform, and load section. Okay. Next, build and deploy ETL or ELT pipelines that can begin with data ingestion. Data ingestion is the first step of any data. That is, data ingestion is related to transferring of raw data to a meaningful data. That is the data ingestion part. So that is the first thing. So one can begin with the data ingestion part and result in the completion of various data related tasks. Data related task means that you need to process the data, you need to extract the data, you need to dashboard the data, you need to plot the data. Everything related to data, you can do it in this ETL or ELT pipeline. Also handle the source data from different sources according to the business requirement. In general, what happens in a company is, rather than giving you what your end goal should be, they just tell you about the problem, and it is up to you how you do the work and how you create an application or end-to-end product in such a way that it meets the business requirement. For that you require a lot of data from different sources, and that's where your big data and SQL knowledge comes in. SQL and NoSQL knowledge comes in. So continuing to that, next thing is work in teams to create algorithms for data storage. Basically, you create the algorithm for how to store the data, how to collect the data, how to reach the data in a very short span of time. What is the data quality checks? Basically, data quality checks are those checks in which you ensure that your data is of very right quality and it is in a very meaningful manner also, and preferably data analytics. This is very closely related field to data analytics also, where you actually dashboard your data. That means you create dashboards or business insights, which helps in getting the right decisions by humans themselves only. Okay? Connect with the data scientists and create infrastructure required to identify designs and deploy internal process or improvements. So basically, data science, you have to connect to various data scientists and create an infrastructure which is required to identify. Basically, you have to find the what is the important factor of the data, what are the important factors that affect the data. Then you have to design the ETL pipeline according to that, and then deploy it for the internal process improvements. That means for every section or every group, one should use those internal that deployed internal process to fetch the data, and it will help them run effectively. Okay. Next thing is access various data sources with the help of tools like SQL and big data technologies for building efficient ETL pipelines. So basically, you have to access various data sources which with the help of the given tools like SQL and big data technologies like Apache Hadoop and Spark for building the efficient ETL, that is extract, transform, load pipelines, which are very essential as a data engineer. Next thing at the last, this is the last section. Experiencing with tools like Snowflake handles a ton of data. Snowflake is actually AWS Snowflake, and it is a device which helps you to process trillions of data points in a very fraction of second. It is built in such a manner. That's part of it. Next thing is build solution that will highlight data quality, operational efficiency, and other features describing the data. So basically, you have to build the solution that highlights what are the quality of the data. So basically, in the means, is it affecting the data or is it not affecting the data, or is it a good data or is it a bad data? We should use that data or not? It does it related to the sample, is related to population or not? These all things comes under the data quality. Operational efficiency is basically how fast your code runs and how everything that ETL pipeline works, how fast it works. That quality checks ensure uh, has to be ensured by a data engineer only. Okay, and other features describing data, that means plotting, preparation, and again this processing of data is also within the feature describing of data. Last thing is creating the scripts and solution to transfer data across different spaces. Now, in an organization, what happens is that sometimes data living in one computer needs to be transferred to another computer or another server. So what happens, you have to create those scripts and solutions so that it can transfer the data across different spaces very fast, very fast. That's a very important step. So although the list seems overwhelming, but focus on building habits in section 1. Those three habits that I told at the very beginning of means, are you already a data on the path of becoming a data scientist? That if you focus, that mindset if you have, then you are already going to conquer all these sections in very small amount of time. And the one of the most common motivation for becoming a data engineer is, on a closing note, the best friend a data scientist can have is a data engineer. So basically, data scientists closely work with data engineer, and data engineers help data scientists to drive a good decision also. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak. I hope you got some value. See you later.